G'day, Nick here, Animal Engineering. On this episode we are going to do a wheel alignment on the van. So those new to the channel, pretty pay to go back through the old playlist. We've had this thing completely separated into all of its pieces, rust repair done, all that kind of jazz. And yeah, it's got a full custom one-off chassis underneath it. Now I'm just going to put the body on and looking at getting it squared up on the van and all that kind of jazz, and I've realised that I probably realistically should do a wheel alignment first. So I figured I should probably do a wheel alignment first because it could just be completely all over the place, and at the moment the front wheels is just touching on the guards, so I want to make sure that my toe and camber are correct because it could prevent a lot of work. So hopefully. So first thing you need to do is get your vehicle at ride height. We're obviously in the shed, nice flat ground, so it has to be at ride height when you do your wheel alignment. So one of the other things you need to do is lock your steering wheel in place so it can't turn. Once you start doing your toe adjustments on the front, if your steering wheel is not locked, you'll be adjusting one and it will just turn the wheel on the other side, and then you're just chasing your tail backwards and forwards. So it's pretty important to make sure you lock your steering wheel in place. At the moment, we've got this pretty janky setup. This is me steering. It just makes it easier just to move it around in the shed. You're not punting tyres to turn. So for the string alignment, which is what I'm going to be doing, videos tell you to use the rear wheel and square your string up off of that. In my case, they could be anywhere in space at all. The chances of them being straight are extremely slim, I would imagine. So I'm going to run, let's see, got a couple of bits of pipe, front and back. Now I've cut a slot into it so the string goes into the slot, and they can be any measurement really, as long as they are the same measurement front and back. And then I'm going to go ahead and measure from the string to the center cap of all four rims and make sure everything's parallel and straight with them. And then once the string's aligned and the same, we can then measure off the rim back to the string, and then that will give us our toe. Rightio, well, once you've walked 1,000 miles backwards and forwards doing all your measurements and making sure it's all parallel and square and darty, you're then left with a string line. So measure the front of your rim and the back of the rim back to your string line, and then that will give you your toe in and out. So my values that I'm going for are based off the old Holden over there, because essentially the chassis under this is basically that car. So looking online, seems to be varied things. So for the toe, it says toe in, and it's a range really anywhere from 0.3 of a mil to 1.5 mil. And then the camber sort of goes from about 1/2 degree through to one guy done 2.5. So I think it varies dramatically on what sort of driving you're doing and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go for 1 mil of toe in, because it's easy to measure with a ruler, and I'll probably go 1.5 degrees of camber. I've just got a straight edge here and a digital protractor, so we'll chuck that on and we'll see what our camber is. I'm going to do that first. Alright, let's say we've got 2.2 degrees of negative camber, so I need to push the wheel back this way a touch. So to achieve that in my case, I need to undo these 2 bolts on the shock, and then you can see that little jacking bolt there. So at the moment I am too far this way, so it'll wind this jacking bolt in just a touch, and then that will push the wheel away from the shock, sending it that way. Rightio, well that is now set to 1.5 degrees. Pretty simple little job. So now we need to check what the toe is. So we've got 64mm at the front. And 65 at the back. It's actually pretty close. So because we've got a bigger number at the back, that means that the wheel is kicked out, so we actually have a bit of toe out. So I need to adjust it and wind the front of the wheel in. Alright, so we've got a little boot here, there's a little clamp on here. Need to remove this clamp so that this arm can rotate around without moving the boot. Got a little jam nut here, so we'll undo that jam nut. And then we need to wind this arm into this joint, and that will pull the front of the wheel in. Oof. Coming back and confirming my measurements. We have 65 on the front and 64 on the back. So that gives me 1mm of toe in. That's good, that's still 1.5. So there's one of the front wheels done. I'll jump over and do the other side, and then we'll have a look at the back. But essentially, if you've got a VE Commodore, that's how you do a string alignment on that. Right, so moving on to the rear, we are chasing 0.3 degrees of camber and 0 toe. So put the digital level in on the brake disc, which should have done it that way on the front as well. So I'm about 1.9 degrees camber at the moment. And about 7mm of toe out. Pretty savage. So I've kind of shot myself in the foot. I'll set my pipe up so I can't get in through the back doors. So now I've got a jungle gym through this jazz. So it's probably a bit hard to see, but down in here there's like a cammed bolt on the lower control arm. So pretty much spin that around and it moves the bolt along in the slot. If you see the episode where I built the chassis, you sort of see it more clearer on that. Right, so the toe's going to be a bit easier to record. Basically this one right here. Right, with those couple of adjustments, we now have 89.3, and we have 49 mils front and back, so toe is 0, and we've got the camber that we need. Rightio, well there you have it. That's a quick and dirty wheel alignment. Fairly simple to do. I could spend a lot more time on it, but for what I'm doing here at the moment, just mocking up the body and everything is fine, and it's close enough to where I can take it to a proper wheel alignment shop that has a lot more experience with especially the rear end, the independent stuff. But all in all, if you are doing what I've done here and you've changed something or whatever, you can get it pretty close. So if you're changing out ball joints or shocks or anything like that, you can use this string method, just do a quick dirty alignment, and then get it somewhere, pay $50. Get a proper one done. So, as always, if you've made it this far through the episode, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.